Okay, so my dear friends, welcome to today's episode where we will be diving deep into how printers can craft their effective online business strategies in this digital age. Our guest for today is my dear friend Colin Sinclair McDermott, and he's a highly respected business coach with years of experience in the printing industry. Together, we will be exploring everything from the key components of a successful business strategy to the latest technologies revolutionizing the print space. Hi, Colin.
Hello, Nidhi. Thank you for having me today.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, thank you. So I'm very excited for today's discussion. So to start with, let's talk about the foundations of success in the printing industry. What do you believe are the key components of an effective business strategy for printing companies today? And
Yeah.
probably you how that might differ depending on the size of the business?
Okay. Yes, certainly. I kind of typically, I look at four different components, and actually, they're the same whether it's a small business or a large business. The first component I typically look at is the financial health of the business. So things like profitability, cash flow management, etc. It's interesting. We had a conversation in my community this week, and the conversation revolved around exit planning, and again I refer back to these four components because even if you're not looking to do anything with your business right now, it's about future planning. It's about putting the right things in place just now, and so kind of I think no matter what size of business, what stage in your business you're at, these are things that you should be reflecting upon. So as I say, the first one is financial health. The second one is operational efficiency. So that comes down to the systems and the processes within the business that makes it tick along. The third one being customer loyalty and recurring revenue. You want to make sure that I mean, looking at your customers, the best customers we'll all ever have are the ones that come back time and time again. So I think you need to have the systems and processes within your business to make sure that you're increasing that kind of customer retention and making sure that they're coming back time and time again. And lastly, the fourth one being strong leadership. I think if you've got a good team around you, and ultimately the dream for most business owners is to ultimately have a business that runs whether they're there or not. So I think if you've got reduced owner dependency, and a team around you that can support that, then I think those kind of four key components, pillars, if you like, are key to kind of running a successful printing company.
Sounds sounds good. So how is it? So whenever you're coaching these printing companies, um, you must be evaluating their current health based on all of these four components, right? And
Yeah,
okay, and then based on this, how do you derive their growth plan? I mean, what comes first and what next?
I think every business is different. The good thing, I mean, so at the moment, for example, I'm coaching somewhere in the region of about 70 different print companies. So I very quickly can see what's working and what's not working within a business. Um, I mean, traditionally, the old school way. So when I first came into the industry, um, most of the strategies were typically offline. Um, but I mean, I'm not sure if you've got the equivalent where you are, but we used to have a directory called the Yellow Pages, and yeah, like that was how we done our prospecting. Kind of, the internet was very much only just becoming around
I
then.
think we
So
have all grown up with that yellow pages type rooms. When then needed any service, we'll just pick it up, look for the right
Yeah.
provider and dialing in. So yeah.
Mhm. It's yeah, I mean we had two. Yellow Pages was one, and then the other one here was the Thomson Local, which was another kind of directory, if you like. But things have evolved. It's gone beyond kind of direct sales, while still very much prevalent in today's workplace. Referrals, obviously, if you can build a business that has a constant stream of referrals coming in, then you're winning. Going to networking events, trade shows, these were all typically the traditional ways in which we used to grow our business. But certainly over the last 15 years, I remember it must have been around about 2009. So, yeah, 15 years ago, very much seen a shift happening. And actually, that's when I decided to move my printing company online at the time. Yeah, I mean, the shift is continuing to grow fairly rapidly. I don't know, you'll probably have better statistics than I, but I would go as much as to say it's probably somewhere between 25 and 30% of all print is now bought online. So it's very much a shift in market. And I think we're now expected to have an online presence. I think in some capacity, even if it's just an informational website, um, e-commerce or web to print. I think people expect you to have that now, and in fact, it can actually be detrimental to your business if you don't. I think having an online presence kind of builds credibility, and we all look to things like reviews and whatever these days to check a business. I mean, I certainly very seldom buy from a business online unless they've got significant good reviews. So I think I think
Yeah.
in these days certainly you need a blend of offline and online in order to run a successful business.
See, that's exactly how I feel because for years, printers have relied on traditional offline strategies for growth, right? But I think
Mm,
in current times, it's very crucial to bring a balance between their offline strategy and the online strategy. They have to go in parallel. So it's like it's no more a choice. It's the only formula for growth, right? So now talking about this transition into digital era, right? Given that for decades, offline sales have been the backbone of many printing companies, right? But blending it with an online marketing strategy, as you said, whether it's just a static website talking about their expertise, their services, the market they serve, or probably building an full blown e commerce website. It could be based on their IT expertise, their employees' skill set, and what all that can help them and nurture their online presence for further. So, how do you think printing businesses can leverage these e-commerce platforms or so-called web-to-print systems and expand their customer base as well as streamline their processes?
yeah, I think what I'll do first, if you don't mind, before I dive into that, is I'll highlight some of the things that I think print businesses miss because very very often I see this as a problem, and I think it's worthwhile addressing that before answering the question, if that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the problem is that they don't fully understand what's required of them, so therefore they don't have they go into this with a blindfold on, if you like. They don't have a clear strategy of how they're going to promote that particular presence. The one thing I teach many of the people that I work with is about the kind of the customer value journey. Um, and really, you need to be thinking about that when you're building this up. They don't showcase their expertise or value well enough. Um, and often that can be just things like um, being a bit more present, show like if you have production in house, like showing things being produced. Kind of customers love to watch um, paper kind of flying out of printing press or whatever, or kind of leaflets being folded um, off the finishing kit. So yeah, kind of I think showcasing your expertise. Another thing I always try and encourage um, business owners to do is talk a bit more about themselves. Kind of talk it so on their homepage or on their About Us page, like have a video. Like video is always best if you can, but talk about the history of the business, how it came about, what your values are. So many people miss out on this, and we all know people buy from people, so you have to, whilst you've got an online presence, you've got to showcase that personal kind of touch, that personal value as well. And I think again, I'm looking at this from an overall perspective of the people I'm working with just now, but many underestimate the power of SEO and writing good content. Again, that's something I'm working on with my community and we're tracking and measuring that as we go, and we're seeing some great results. But um, people, I think, and I'll probably touch on this later as well. But time is always a challenge with businesses. They don't have time to do things, and therefore they don't value things like SEO and writing good content as something that's going to help their business. When in fact it very much will. And certainly when I had my own online printing company back in the day, that was something that was really kind of fruitful for our business. Think not utilizing online quoting systems and ordering systems, streamlining processes to save on time, as I've touched on. And yeah, kind of even using things like analytics um, to drive improvements within the business. Like I had an example with a client just a few weeks ago, and I made a suggestion. It was I'd suggested that they didn't have a search box on their homepage, and by implementing that, we could track what was happening when were there particular products that perhaps people were coming to their website looking for that they didn't offer. So we could use the data from that to perhaps look at products like if you've got if you've got 17 people in 1 month searching for struck cards that are not on your website, what are you going to do? You're going to start kind of building in new products around struck cards, aren't you? So yeah, I guess I wanted to kind of highlight those things that people typically miss when starting their online journey, if that's okay first, before answering the question. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, it's absolutely okay. And I think whatever you said definitely makes sense because, in fact, when I'm ordering something online, right, for the first time for a website, the first thing I do is go to their website and check who are the people behind the venture, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how you build your trust, that who are the people from whom you are buying. So it's not only the product that interests you, but definitely the history of the business, what values they carries on, in fact, what are the testimonials on their website, right?
Yeah.
Why people like them. All of these things definitely make a difference when buyers make their final buying choices, right? And I
Hmm.
guess when we started Design and Buy almost 15 years back, that was the time when web to print was still evolving, right? Many people
Yeah.
came and they set up their website, but they didn't knew how to process these orders online. What actually is an online personalization process? How involving should it be for their consumers and all of those questions. But I think over the last decade, this has really matured, and I have seen a lot of online website of the printers transforming from just the being the informative websites to now full blown web to print or e-commerce website from where you can even order complex products like probably threefold brochures, or in fact, flexible packaging or corrugated boxes. So it has
Mhm.
grown in leap and bounds, right? Um, and
Yeah,
uh,
just to go back on what you were saying there as well about like you always kind of go to look at other people's websites before you buy, kind of, and something I talk about with my clients is look at your competitors in the same way. So like go onto your competitors' websites and get their reviews. Actually see if you can find any negative reviews, because quite often that will leave clues. If they're not doing something well, that can be something you can flip and maybe start promoting that you do also. I remember an incident years ago. There was a printing company that was having lots of issues. Many of the reviews on their website were all around bad packaging and things like this. They weren't using high enough quality boxes, and one of their main competitors actually launched a campaign, um, and they were promoting kind of how good their packaging was, like how all the flyers and leaflets were being shrink wrapped. They were in double wall carton boxes. They were using a better courier, and actually they picked up a lot of business on the back of that. So things like reviews are so important to have, but also you can use them to your advantage as well.
yeah, I totally agree. Now, in recent time, I'm usually asked this question a, a lot, that should a printer's e-commerce strategy should be independent of their web to print investments? Because I guess this is an ongoing confusion. Is web to print e-commerce, or should the e-commerce strategy be independent of their web to print strategy? Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I think I think web to print is a really useful extension to any print business with an e-commerce platform. I think giving customers the option to personalize their products online can only enhance your offering. So um, anything you can do to streamline that process gets a thumbs up from me. And yeah, I do believe they should be independent, and that allows people to choose the one that best suits them. I remember I watched one of your recent webinars actually with 4Ps and talking about atomics, and I think it's kind of, as you guys agreed as well, I think it's important that people have that flexibility to choose what's right for their business rather than being forced down a specific route. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because what happens is, once you prepare your e-commerce strategy, right, it it keeps on changing because user behavior is changing, user experience is actually improving day by day, right? There were eras when we were having those static websites. Now then came the era where mobile responsiveness became the de facto standard, and everything had to be mobile responsive. And now it's like the super fast content on the website. So I guess e-commerce is something that should keep on changing based on the technology in advancement. However, your web to print components, that should reflect how you process your order and how easy you can make your target customers to come online, choose the product or services that you offer, and
Hmm.
put these orders online, whether by uploading the artwork or personalizing. So I see, though these are two different aspects, but if you find a platform that can blend in this two, still being independently and able to grow independently, would be the best, I think, strategy for a print service provider. Additionally, when
I
I'm
couldn't.
speaking to a lot of our customers, I can see instances where they invested in a platform that had an, you know um, completely integrated e-commerce and web to print strategy. But when e-commerce got outdated while their web to print performed still as expected, it became a monumental task to get out of their legacy e-commerce
Mm-hmm.
user experience and invest into another technology altogether, right? So I think these are certain aspects that printers would definitely need help from the expert coaches, I think, like yours or other members of your team, that when they are deciding to put the growth plan, both offline and online, and especially then considering online, what should they all take care of, and how should they blend in both their offline and online strategies together so that it reflects the way they do the business, right? Um, so
Mm-hmm.
seamless customer experience, whether they are ordering it offline or through the
Mm-hmm.
online portal, right? That's what is needed. Another
Yeah,
interesting
for sure.
thing, Colin, I feel is um, today automation is another big trend. So, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think? What role do you think automation plays for printers, particularly in areas like customer communication, order processing, and all of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. So again, I keep referring back to around 15 years ago. There was lots of things going on in my life back then around change. But I had recently read a book called The E-Myth. I don't know if you've ever come across that one.
I'm
It
going to
was written by a chap.
grab a copy soon.
Say again, sorry.
No, I said I'll pick up a copy soon after this podcast.
Yeah, it's very good. It's actually been touted as one of the best small business books of all time. But yeah, it was written by a chap called Michael Gerber. So I came across this book, yeah, around about 2009. And ultimately, it was the first time I'd heard kind of the terminology of working on your business, not in your business. Um, and actually, I went on, kind of, I was involved in a Michael Gerber came to the UK for the very first time in 2015, and I had the pleasure of being involved in the event and getting to meet him and speak to him. So it was quite a special occasion. But we're blessed to live in a world now where technology allows us to achieve these things a lot more realistically as well. I do believe there's a fine line with regards to customer communication. I think there's definitely a time and a place for when automation should be used. But I do think there's a very fine line between that and losing that personal kind of touch with communication. But it can definitely help in some of the kind of the mainstay kind of ways to communicate with clients, kind of confirming quotations and order confirmations and order updates and things like this. Uh, um, and yeah, like even with regards to like chatbots and things like that, again, they're okay to an extent as long as people have the opportunity to go beyond that. But yeah, I mean, if you can automate certain aspects of your business, whether it be kind of customer communications or even things like sales and marketing funnels, managing inquiries, then yeah, as I've alluded to already, time is the one thing that we all struggle with. So if you can do anything um, to save some and be more productive, then absolutely it's critical. It's key. I think with regards to order processing, something that can reduce errors and speed up time, kind of the, the time it takes to get a job into production, is wonderful. And printers can integrate with, like you say, web to print systems where customers can upload artwork, approve proofs, place orders without the constant going back and forth with clients, which can sometimes like 5, 6, 7 times before you actually get a job off to print. So if you can automate that process, then it's a
Exactly.
win-win situation. Um, as I said, time with everyone I coach, it's the one thing that keeps rising to the surface, and it's the one thing that holds most people back. So anything you can do to free up more time is kind of is a necessity.
and I do think where web to print systems or the e-commerce systems add value in this process is keeping the customer engaged throughout the process while the order is getting processed. So, like having smart file check system, the pre-flight systems that could automate and auto correct a lot of the errors in the files that come through, right? And then once the file is corrected, then sending notifications to the customer so they are informed, okay, what is happening with my order, and then probably giving them notifications and updates along the way. So it's like building the customer engagement where they don't have to pick up the call and check, okay, where my order is and when I'm supposed to get the delivery. And I think and that not only is the part of the customer communication, but I believe that some sophisticated web to prints are also doing the job of customer engagement in terms of sending regular updates about your product portfolio and services, any special offers and discounts they can avail, the new product launches, and a lot more. So it's kind of helping the printers at the background and keeping their customer informed and engaged is probably
Mhm.
wonderful job that this systems does. And as far as the order processing is concerned, I guess the complete job monitoring, while a job gets from one process to the other, and then having multiple people involved who can get the notifications when the job is ready for the next step. Such kind of things
Mhm.
definitely have helped to reduce the overall order processing timeline. So nobody needs to run on the shop floor anymore. You can just send in the notifications, and then people know it, right? So
For sure.
finally, I mean, speaking about the technology, the another buzzword, is AI. It's everywhere. And I guess AI is a buzzword we now keep hearing a lot. How can printers integrate AI or other such cutting edge technologies to enhance their services and stay competitive? I mean, have you thought about it? Have the businesses that you
Yeah,
are coaching have asked about how they can actually implement AI into their business?
yeah, it's still very much something I'm learning a lot about just now. It was one of the main reasons for me going to Drupa this year, where we actually had the pleasure of meeting in person for the first time as well. On your very busy stand, I don't think you had much break over those 2 weeks, but
It was crazy.
yeah, certainly for me, the one thing that really jumped out was from a production perspective, um, seeing how printers are using AI to be more effective with things like production scheduling, for example, and actually monitoring the presses, kind of knowing kind of when maintenance might be required, kind of flagging any potential issues before they actually happen. Um, so ultimately, you're stalling any delays in production. So I think that's very cool. I think that's something that's only going to enhance as we get to know and understand a little bit more about AI. And I think the one thing that's more of kind of a production side. But again, printers talking about it more on the kind of content side as well. And it's something I'm working really hard to try and break the bad habits of just now, because there's a lot of print companies out there abusing AI with regards to how it creating content to promote the business and things like this. And I mean, you'll see the kind of the red flags if you see someone posting on LinkedIn, and you can 99% of the time tell that it's been created using AI with very little thought or time going into it. And I do think AI has its place. I think it's very good for kind of creating ideas, and sometimes just kind of getting rid of that writer's block, as we've touched on earlier about SEO, and like there's a lot of people out there just writing random blogs just to kind of drop in some keywords, and it doesn't work like that. And listen, the Google algorithm, Google will pick up on this. Like you're not going to pull the wool over the eyes of Google. So I think that's the one thing. So again, what I'm trying to do is educate. We've done a lot of little mini courses within our community recently about how you can use AI properly to help with content creation, but ultimately you've still got to put in the personal work on it as well. Use it to break down the initial kind of thought barriers, if you like. But yeah, AI is still very much something I'm learning about. The industry's learning about, but yeah, is it going to make us more productive, more effective? Is it going to help us be able to produce more, and kind of market more, kind of create more content? 1,000,000%.
Yeah, and the interesting part is, that's there is something for everyone who deals with print. For example, for print consumers, let's say an 11-year-old going online and wants to order an happy birthday card for his mom or dad, right? Now, he's short of words, and I've seen many web to print system now embedding AI tools so that you can auto generate these messages, images, and that you want to put in such artwork to create it online, right? And I was doing this exercise actually when we were planning the uh, embedding of AI features into our own web to print systems. I sat with my daughter, she's 11-year-old, and I asked her, okay, how quick it could be to design a card. And when I was discussing with her, okay, writing messages on the clue, getting some images of like flowers, cakes, and all of that, that becomes super easy. And as print is all
Mm-hmm.
about content and AI is also a lot more about content, that's where it blends in, right? Now if I talk about the printer's side, think about AI doing things like auto adjusting the print queues so that the machines are run very efficiently, and deciding automatically which orders should be run through which machine at which point of time to maximize the run duration, right? And a lot more in the production process that could be automated with help of these AI tools.
Yeah.
And then on the customer support front, obviously. So I'm sorry I lost you for a minute.
That's
So
okay.
okay. So yeah, I mean, as you said, we are still learning how much AI can do and what
Mm-hmm.
value it can add. But I can see that that's definitely something to look for from the perspective of print service providers, right? Um,
Absolutely.
okay. So
Uh, do we have time? Because I don't feel I really.
yeah, sure, go ahead. Hey, Colin, are you there? Yes.
I was just going. If we've got time, I don't think I can and we're back.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened, but we are back.
That's okay. This is the beauty of it not being live.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah,
we definitely have time, and we can conclude.
yeah,
So I would definitely love
yeah.
to.
So I was just going to ask if it was okay. I don't think I fully answered your question about um, kind of how businesses can leverage e-commerce platforms to expand the customer base and streamline their processes. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on this, if that's okay. But I think the beauty for businesses looking to move on into the online space is it really gives you an opportunity to reach a broader audience. I've had some situations recently with a business who felt that they had kind of exhausted all options within their locality. And I think being online allows you to kind of reach that audience further afield. The one thing I've always loved, I remember when I first started my own online printing company, and I'll never forget the feeling when I woke up in the morning to see some orders had come in overnight, while I was in bed, and I think that's just one of the great benefits of having an online presence. Certainly from an online selling perspective, is that people will. I was amazed how many orders used to come in at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and people catching up with their production and things like that during the night. So receiving orders while you sleep, I think, is kind of a huge advantage. Um, something else that something that I see a lot of clients holding back on moving online for is because they've got legacy pricing. They've got lots of customers on different price lists and things, and they're worried about the impact that might have on their margins. And from experience, yeah, there's going to be some little hits, but I think the advantage overall is much more efficient and allows you to standardize your pricing a little bit more as well and streamline those kind of processes. Um, I think things we've already touched on. Customers being able to like track their orders, etc., which again frees up more time from perhaps your customer service advisors having to answer the phone all the time with people looking for updates. Um, and the big thing just now, certainly something I've noticed since COVID, is more and more businesses moving online because it's typically payment up front, and people just expect to pay for things at the time they order, whereas the old traditional way was still going on 30, 60, 90-day credit accounts. You're nodding your head. You obviously hear this all the time as well.
Yeah, so I could relate to this because many of our customers, when they come to us, I often suggest to them, put any of your products that are fast moving, are not complex, very easy to create the artwork for, put them online, train your customers how to use it, and see the magic. So your business will still keep getting the orders while you're sleeping. Second, on the contrary, it also gives that convenience to your customers so that they don't have to wait for your business to open the next day and put in the orders or email you or explain you over calls. They just can go there. If they want to reorder, they just click the button, reorder this again, and that's how the order can be placed. For example, at DesignNBuy, we order most of our print inventory, whether it be business cards, our brochures, or letterheads, or pens, or anything from one of our own customers who uses DesignNBuy web to print. But what they have done is they have created our own product library on their e-commerce platform that we have built. Now, every time we need something, what
Yeah,
our HR team does is it just logs into account, edits the name of on the business card if someone new has joined in, previews it in real time, and just puts the order. And then same goes for if they need new jerseys, t-shirts, office stationery, and anything. That means once it is has been proofread, once you have received this good, reordering becomes super easy because no manual intervention is required and you can just order it online. So
yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
while having your business growing, probably in terms of geographic reach that you have, if you're
mhm,
serving locally and if you plan to serve more globally, or whether you are expanding your product catalog, or whether you are expanding the quality of print you do, maybe the affordable and quick deliveries. I think these online systems, both e-commerce and web to print systems, have really done a very good job there in enhancing overall business efficiency and have been really the
Yeah,
cornerstone stone of growth for our customers. So I could relate to what you said.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, I'm sure most companies in the industry will have heard this, but at some point when you're speaking to a customer and they say, "Oh, we didn't know you produced that type of product. We've just got that done from someone else." And I think that's the beauty of being online. You've got that catalogue of your full product range, so there's no excuse. Obviously, you still have to be marketing and selling, but people can see all the products that you offer, rather than just assuming that you do that or not do it and lose a sale. So it definitely makes it easier to scale your business for sure.
okay. Interesting. So thank you for sharing your insights today, Colin. It's been really fascinating conversation on how printers can evolve with the times and thrive in the digital landscape today. I'm sure our listeners have gained some valuable takeaways, but that's just beginning. I would be looking forward to much more such conversations in future. But thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it. Thank
No,
you.
thank you for having me. It's very much appreciated and hope we can do it again.